When it comes to trading, there's nothing more important to me than fundamentals. Understanding the big stories affecting the financial markets and what's happening today. It is almost second nature to me, but many of you who've been following me have asked what my daily routine looks like, the resources I look at, and the Twitter feeds that I follow, because you want to be able to understand fundamentals as well as I do. So I thought this is the perfect topic for a video. My day starts at 6 a.m. I've got my coffee made, my kids are still asleep, and it's quiet enough for me to check on the markets and the trades. The first thing I do is I take a look at how my overnight setups are doing, whether profit targets have been hit or some of my trades are floating and what I want to do with them. Then I look at the economic data to see how data fared. I personally like to use the DailyFX calendar because I taught the guys how to build it. It's not the calendar with the fastest updates. You can't rely on it for quick data prints, but it is the most comprehensive calendar, which means that some calendars just include the monthly numbers, but DailyFX includes pretty much everything you need to know. So if you're looking at it from a backwards looking perspective as to what happened overnight, which is the way I use it, it's got everything that I need in order to process the information flow overnight. Then the next step that I do is I go to Twitter, and I personally use a TweetDeck. I like TweetDeck because I've got different columns for different feeds that I follow, and it gives me a way to look at, kind of the most important information without everything kind of disappearing on a normal Twitter feed. So the left-hand side column, my TweetDeck, is basically everyone that I follow. And you can see who I follow by clicking on my followers. My handle is KathyLeanFX. Click on followers and you can see who I follow. The first feed is Forex Live. I think that they basically cover everything you need to know that is important about the Forex market. It's movements, data, speeches. So that's the first thing I look at. I'll scroll up and down and see what happened overnight so that I don't miss anything. And then I follow Zero Hedge. And they've got a lot of kind of macro information that they provide, and they also include some interesting charts sometimes, so I like that a lot. I also follow NewsSquawk and Investing.com. In some ways these two are similar because they're more about intraday news flow, and sometimes it got a little bit more color than Forex Live and Zero Hedge, so I like that as well. And what I really like about Investing.com is that at the morning they kind of do a little breakdown, a little snippet on the top things you need to know for the day. So that's really good. And then lastly, I have Reuters, which kind of goes beyond FX or the financial markets and basically covers anything that's kind of big news that is breaking, or anything that may be of interest. After that, I'll scan the headlines on CNBC, New York Times, as well as the Wall Street Journal for anything else that I'm missing or anything else that I'm just curious about that I want to read later. So I've got all my news that I've caught up on. Then I'll go to TradingView, to my TradingView charts, and I've got a go-to list that I put on right away. And what that includes is all of the markets that and all information that I think I need to look at from a technical perspective. So first here I've got my stock futures, the Dow futures and the S&P futures. And then I've got my bonds, 10-year Treasury yields, German 10-year yields, and I have oil and gold followed by all of my currency indices. So this kind of gives me a bird's eye view about how the overall markets are doing. With all this in mind, including my fundamental heat map, which I prepare on Sundays, I will look for the answers to 3 questions that will determine the trades I take for the New York session every morning. And those questions are: number 1, what is the risk appetite? That's basically determined by how the stock futures are doing. Number 2, what happened overnight? And I've already dissected that through looking at the economic calendar and my Twitter feeds. And number 3, what are the strongest and weakest currencies of the day? And I simply look at the percentage change at the start of the New York session. All of this takes about 20 minutes, a little less sometimes, a little more depending upon the news flow of the day. And once I've got all of that information digested into my head, it's time to trade. I'll look for my zip setups in Eurodollar, for example, or dollar CAD. You can see that there's a very clean zipped short trade here in Eurodollar. That would have been a really good one. And also here you've got a clean zip trade in dollar CAD. But sometimes we have variations, and that's okay too. But I'll be scanning through each of my currency charts looking for the zip setups that have come up. This week, Zip gave us some really nice profits, and even a trade in gold. Take a look at this gold chart here, where we had a Zip sell signal in gold. Now, I don't normally trade gold, but it's in my laboratory, and I've got some really good data sets, and I think we're going to include it in our repertoire soon. But we've got a really nice gold trade here, and it took a little bit of time, but it became a really nice winner. Now let's take a look at the rest of the trades that we took for the weekdays. Monday and Wednesday were great. Tuesday, not so much, but we made back all of our losses on Tuesday to end up very positive and hitting our profit target on Wednesday. But here's what it looked like. Taking a look, trade by trade, we started off the Asia session. So we trade the Asia session on Sundays, and we kicked the day off with a series of trades. We bought dollar Swiss, bought dollar CAD, sold Kiwi yen, and here are kind of some of the charts. This is a classic Zip buy signal, and this I love, triple Zip sell signal in Kiwi yen. Gave all the reasons why. I also added on a Euro Kiwi Aussie CAD trade. This was a really beautiful setup there, perfect Zip sell signal. Aussie CAD, also perfect Zip sell signal, supported by fundamentals. As you may know, Australia has been struggling with the COVID situation, and so they were definitely going to suffer compared to Canada, which is vaccinating people very rapidly and is not facing the second or third or fourth or fifth lockdown that Australia is. I did close a dollar CAD trade because it didn't look as good before I went to bed, and when I woke up in the morning, Euro Kiwi, Aussie CAD, dollar Swiss all hit profit targets. Then came the New York session. In the New York session, I sold the Euro dollar, I sold Euro Aussie, we also sold the Australian dollar, and quite honestly, nothing really worked. We actually ended up having losses in quite a bit of these trades, and it didn't really work out. But that's okay. One session of bad trading happens, and that's something that we all end up having to get used to. And then I put on a bunch of trades for Asia, and those trades actually worked out. We basically went short commodity currencies, Aussie yen, Kiwi yen. Sorry, went short Aussie Kiwi. We went long Kiwi yen, went short Aussie dollar, and I bought Euro Aussie. And we did have here one of the trades closed early, Euro Aussie, which gave us some profits. But basically, I settled on certain positions, and by the time we came back in the New York session, Aussie Kiwi, Aussie dollar, Euro dollar hit profit target again. So a bunch of trades for Tuesday, and we had a bunch of New York session trades, a bunch of Asia session trades, and then on Wednesday evening, basically came up with a few different trades, selling Euro dollar, classic Zip sell signal, also short Euro yen, which was not a classic Zip sell signal, but it looked good. Dollar yen, we were selling it on a retrace. This one we actually went full position. And I could give all the reasons why. US CPI was much weaker than expected. The market expected the Fed to push tapered signal to November. Treasury yields were down a lot. Euro yen, Euro was unable to rally since ECB. Those were some of the reasons for the trades. I also went long Euro Kiwi, and that's just based upon New Zealand extending its lockdown in Auckland, confidence weakening. Euro Kiwi actually hit target before I went to bed very quickly, within an hour. Woke up in the morning, Euro yen and dollar yen hit profit target. Those were very easy trades because fundamentals of weak US CPI and risk off was really consistent. Then in the New York session, we added a little bit more pips by buying Euro dollar here, as well as selling Aussie yen, and that was a really nice trade. And both of them worked out really nicely, and that's how we basically ended up the week, up 133 pips in just 3 trading days. We didn't trade on Thursday because we don't trade US retail sales day. It's very risky, and I didn't trade on Friday because I was getting my wisdom tooth pulled out, so I wasn't in the mindset to be trading. But that's basically it. We hit a profit target 100 pips in 3 trading days using a combination of fundamentals and technical analysis. If you want to learn more about trading with me or how Zip works, please visit bkforex.com.